Sounds like I swallowed heaven or cum. Haha. Welcome back. Talking about the taboo with Natalie Malloy. I can't even fathom my own jokes at this point. Anyways, super excited about today's episode. Today's episode is and has a return fan, as I'd like to put it. Super excited, and today is okay, so today's the end of the month. That means Valentine's Day is coming up. So the topic of today's conversation is sort of kind of to do with that, but let me introduce him. So Evan, if you want to join us, you can. Hello.
Hello there.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back again.
Of course. So, little update. Every single thing that has gotten better with this podcast is to do with Evan.
Oh, you create the content. I just kind of just trust me. You're the one that's making your own show better.
Thank you.
Don't take away credit from yourself because you do such an incredible job with your podcast, and I highly suggest to a lot of people to listen to her podcast. So she does
You're
a lot.
sweet. You're really, really sweet. He actually got me the microphone you're looking at, the arm that's holding the microphone. This is literally his StreamYard account. The logo, if you notice the difference on the right-hand side, he figured that out. The banner he figured out. The color he figured out. Yep, that's right, point to it. All of that he figured out. So again, when I get famous, and I'd like to emphasize on the word when, you guys know who he is. He'll be my best friend most likely.
No, I'll be working. Well, I'll be your best friend, but I'll be working with you.
Yeah, he'll be my producer, literally. Before I get too in depth, you guys know I have a sex toy of the week. So Evan, you could stay on. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you about the sex toy since I'm talking to you now. So this is a sex toy that actually I did not get from the sex toys that I review off Amazon. I got it from the Sex Museum in New York City. This museum I'd like to talk about briefly with you. Fucking awesome, okay? A bounce house of boobs. Bounce house of boobs. Can you imagine? Imagine that, Evan. I see you imagining it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to New York.
New York. Oh, my gosh. Bounce house of boobs. And at the end of the little tour of it. It was so cool. Wait, I'd like to bounce back. There was also a room where every TV in the room like filled the wall. The ceiling was porn.
Oh gosh.
It was just ceiling, sides, floor.
Like videos, or are we just
Videos.
talking? Oh,
Sound included.
oh no.
So just the whole time, everywhere.
Ugh.
Like they were jizzing. Oh.
I'd be pitching a tent.
I'm pretty sure everybody was. There was like all types of porn. Like a picture like TVs, like some were big, some were small. Then there was a room that you can go into actually that had old time like porn. Like way back when. And they had like the little TV that was like old time, like an old time couch. They had like pipes, like that they would smoke, whatever, like fake ones sitting over here. It was literally so cool. So this museum, I highly recommend it. It's called the Museum of Sex. I literally have a pen from there too. It's super old, but it says Museum of Sex on it. You can't fucking see it, but whatever. Used it out so much. Kind of like I used this toy too much. Yeah. Anyways, this toy was at the end. I'm in your face. This toy was at the end of the museum, so they had a sex shop at the end of the museum. So you gotta go there, Evan. Anyways, this toy was $200.
Is that a lot?
And yeah. And I am gonna show you it in a second, but I'd like to really like reiterate the fact that it was $200. Guys, this device is not $200 elsewhere. I bought it thinking it was cool because I got it from the sex museum, and it still is. But you've probably seen it before. but it looks like this. Okay. It's teal. They had this in pink and teal. I got teal. And what it does is it's basically essentially a traveling sex toy. Okay. So, you know, this part goes in you. It's a little bit of a skinnier part. This part goes in you and it will vibrate and hit your G spot. This part will go on top right here. I don't have a good camera, whatever. Right here, this will go on top and stimulate your clit. Okay. I wonder if it's charged. Probably not. Yeah, no. I haven't used this in a little bit because this is primarily for couples. It has a remote as well, but it also has a app called We Vibe. Okay. On this app, at the time I had a long distance boyfriend. Okay. So this is primarily what I used it for. No longer with that boyfriend for very good reasoning, but I got to keep the toy. Anyways, so this toy was very nice for like that long distance that we had to go through. It was like 6 months of long distance. So that on the app, you can connect it to music and have the music vibrate to that. And you could be anywhere in the world and it will connect to this device. You can play music, you can do your own vibrations, you could talk into it. Very fucking cool, very awesome. You can even be real fancy and on Valentine's Day, you want to, spice it up. Honestly, I think you should do the deed before you go out to dinner, but that's besides the point. She could put it in her underwear and you could play with her at the table and not make it, she has to hide her face, but I think that's sexy as fuck, to be honest. But anyways, that's the sex toy of the week. We're gonna merge into what this shit's about. Fucking excited, okay? So if you guys recall, last time Evan came onto this here podcast, he was complaining about his dating life. Is that correct, Evan?
Oh yeah, and still not the greatest, but it's not terrible.
He's
It's
learning.
been better. I'll
Okay.
say that I feel like I have gained more confidence in myself over the past, few
Year.
years or like few months ever since, uh like I go to you for dating advice or girl advice, and like I remember one of the things I did was I like kind of said something that was like a girl said, "Oh, that was pretty smooth," and I got her number, and I was just like smiling from ear to ear, thinking, "Me smooth,
Aw.
me clever." And one of the first people I
Yeah.
told was Natalie. So she has me. I have helped her a lot through how my work and getting her podcast up and running and making sure that it sounds great. But she also helps me with understanding dating life, and I appreciate that from her very
So
much.
you're very welcome, and I think we appreciate each other for whatever we do in general. Just your existence, bane of existence. So what apps do you have?
Well, I got rid of them. I had to get off of them. I used to have Bumble and Hinge. I didn't want to do Twitter, Jesus,
Tinder.
Tinder, because I felt like for the week or so that I was on it, I felt like it was a lost cause. Felt like I try like if I'd matched with someone and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna see if they're gonna make the first move. Nothing would happen.
Tinder's for titties. It's a
That
sex
that
app.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. But it just didn't. It was not working out. It was frustrating. So I deleted that. I deleted my account from that app. I like Bumble. Bumble, and it's kind of fun with the whole swiping and then but the thing that I've told you this before and I'll say it again. No guy likes it when your opening response is hi or hello there or how are you? Give me something to think about. Like,
Spice.
yeah, like in like you said to me before, like some of your pickup lines would be um
Well, let me say
uh
it.
go right ahead.
So I think I used on him. So you guys know I'm a very sexual person. Everything ties down. My jokes are all sexual. So I think did I say this one? Was it remind me of what your name was again? And then they'll say it, and then I'll be like, I just want to make sure I'm screaming the right one tonight.
Well, that one, but also it was like, what's like a person like you during doing in a
Doing
dirty
a
mind
dirty
like
mind like
mine.
mine.
And like for me, I would just be like, that's awesome. That's like so cool. Like I don't know, like maybe if you ask me something about my profile, like I'm trying to like
Which I helped you with.
yes, she was very helpful with. Um, one of the things that she and other people have said to me is that that I remind them of Buddy the Elf from obviously the
Say
movie
it. Say it.
Elf.
Say the saying.
What saying?
The saying
Uh,
that you always say.
uh, oh, Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
Yeah.
It's just something that's just like like I think I actually there was a girl that actually asked me what my favorite color is, and I told them it's purple, and she was like going into this whole like idea of why like what a person is like with their favorite color, and I was like, okay, interesting, but it was stuff something like that that'll make me think. Or like I'm not a huge fan of the people that use like the questionnaire that's like that simple little survey thing where you put an
Oh
answer and
yeah.
I put an answer. I feel like I don't want to say that's lazy, but
Kind of is.
a little bit, yeah.
Cuz honest
So,
to God, like I was on those apps too,
mhm.
and I felt over fucking whelmed with how many people, and this isn't me cocky, like this is not. Like I know I'm not ugly, but
She's
how many
being
people I had to
cocky.
shut your fucking mouth. Anyways, I had a lot of fucking people coming up on my shit, and some of them I aimlessly was swiping, and I did do one of those survey things, and at the literally, I did not like anybody off of those apps. I did end up going on dates, but 100,000% of the time when I sent that type of survey, the conversation never went anywhere.
Yeah,
So,
and
you know,
a lot of times it can be like, or if someone says like, "Oh, just find me on Instagram," and then they put their Instagram in there. I'm like, I'm not going to go through the work to follow you on Instagram when if I try to slide into your DMs and then you're kind of just it almost makes it seem like that I'm being like a creep or whatever because
yeah, they
I
just want followers.
yeah, exactly. And they probably won't even answer the like the DM either because they won't notice it because they don't follow me. You know, it. I just I like dating apps got frustrating. I ended up deleting them, and it feels pretty good. I'm talking to someone, and we can get to that later. Um, but and I think that was kind of like, and also like seeing the notifications, like the
Mm,
notification number, that
mhm.
really bugged me.
Me too.
I'm one of those people that tries to get through every, and I was just like, I'm not on there anymore. So
You can't have notifications sitting there.
yes.
Same. And I see people's phone with like 1,000 unread messages. Like
Oh, I know.
Not on Bumble, like Messenger. Like
Mm.
I'm like,
Oh yeah, like on your phone.
yeah. I was like, are you psycho? Like,
It
how do you
it's it
sit there?
like one of my buddies that I work with. I mean, maybe emails are a little bit different, but
Yeah, for sure.
he has like over 1,000 unread emails, and I'm just like that makes me want to throw up.
Literally gives me anxiety. Like, even sometimes people on Snapchat will send me videos and I can't necessarily open them at that point, and I'm like antsy to go to the bathroom or something just to get to like open the video. So
Yeah.
like I'm like, ah shit, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So throughout your dating, on Hinge and Bumble, I'm sure
Hmm.
you've had some interesting characters come upon your
Yes.
path.
Yes, I did.
Tell me about the craziest story, I know there's multiple because we've talked about it, but I want to talk more in detail. Your craziest story, weirdest story, something somebody did that was super weird. Tell me about it.
Um, well, um, and I'm not gonna name names or whoever, but
Yeah,
like
please don't do that.
yes, I I had I was So there was a while ago, I matched with this girl and I really liked her. Like maybe things moved too quickly. I actually was like we were talking about like some dates that we could go on and we never even had met in person or like it was getting closer to like October and we were like talking about oh like going to the pumpkin farm yada yada. And I don't remember what the question was. I don't really care to remember, but I mentioned something about splitting the bill on a first date,
That's a
which
no-no.
which it was I kind of it when I said it, I was more so saying like, oh, it would be nice if she, if she offered to split it. I me being me, I usually will just I'll take it upon myself, which is fine. And she didn't like that. And then eventually she just stopped talking to me and I got really upset with myself and I was like in this shitty state for like I don't know, a week. And eventually I got out of the funk a little bit. And then eventually, maybe this is bad of me, but I kind of put up this little barrier of myself where I just was making sure that like if I got rejected or something like that, I wouldn't get hurt. I'd be like,
Right.
well, you
And
know
I
what? It's her loss. That's basically where I look at it.
hell
It's
yeah,
her
it is.
loss.
Boss
So,
ass bitch out here. Yes. And we had talked about, I think in our previous episode that we had together about how like you were kind of putting too much emotion towards like a letdown, right? Like it really hurt your self-esteem. And honestly, those are blessings in disguise and it's something that you kind of have to like fathom with like there's in the midst of so much rejection, you're going to have one that clicks and it's called blessing the broken road that led you to them. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Like you want these stories, you want these experiences, good or bad, to get to the point where you are now talking to this girl.
Mhm.
Go on, you're about to say something though.
And then I think this was like over Christmas. I tried to reconnect with this girl and we were, we were talking. I thought things were going well and we were trying to like go back to like kind of where we were and she said like, "Oh, what are some dates that we could go on?" And I said, "Oh, mentioning Natalie. I didn't mention you by name, but I mentioned that I said, "Oh, my one friend, you know, tells me that I remind her of Buddy the Elf." And I said, "She's really cool. You'll like her." And I said one of the things that Buddy talked about on his like list of activities that he wanted to do with his dad when he found him in New York was ice skating. And that's one of the things that I've wanted to do was to go ice skating. And her reply to me was, "Why don't you go ice skating with your girl best friend or go to the movies with your girl best friend?" And I go,
Yeah.
and my response to her was, "Because I wanna go with you."
Yeah. Like what? And that's again like that ties back to like insecurities in women right now. Like you can't a lot of the times people are so codependent on each other's energy and you can't have a friend that's like the opposite sex of you and that's insecure. She's insecure
Yeah.
and that's that.
And she stopped talking to me and I was and this time I was not upset about it. I was trying to make it work. I was like, "You like trust me," all that fun stuff, and she just didn't wanna trust me, and I'd be
The way
like
she was
going
talking to you was just ugly.
and just like that's just to me, that's not okay. I am uh, for to me, I am very respectful. I won't like l- and she was thinking that we were screwing around to say and I just was like, no, like I view her as a one of my best friends. I am very close with her. I don't have that many friends, and Natalie happens to be one of them. And she's saying, "Well, why can't you have any guy best friends?" And I go, "I do. The one person that keeps in contact with me the most is Natalie."
Like,
You
what?
know.
Like, it's just like that's the like, I think, essentially, you're not ugly, I'm not ugly. You are on my podcast that's about sex, and we do talk about sex, we talk about relationships, but if I was a man, it wouldn't be any it would be different, they would think
I
of it differently.
I guess for me, I have never had a problem with girls having a guy best friend. If I started to hang out with that guy best friend and he was like maybe like doing things that maybe I wasn't okay with, I would say to her, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm not okay with this." That's
Right.
the whole or like communication. That's like that's my big thing. I went to school for communications. I took a crap ton of communication classes. I know what it means, how important it is to have to have
Clit
communication.
communicate.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but you said it, so I will then. But in all honesty, it's like
Yeah.
you gotta trust me. And she clearly did not trust me, and it's her loss.
And I think it's based off of her past too. I think she has her own
Probably.
indicted in trauma that she needs to handle. And there's one thing too. It's the you met him, Trevor.
Oh,
Remember?
right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So he was like, I'm cool. I'm not controlling. I don't care anything. She could have as many friends as she want, like guy or girlfriends, whatever, whatever. But it's when I hang out with him and he gives me the vibe that he has behind the scenes intentions, like underlining intentions. Like he'll be like, "All right, bud, see you later, bud." Like treating him like he's lower than him rather than on the same level. Does that make sense?
I
So
guess.
like if you were to go out with your girlfriend, okay?
Uh-huh.
And she had a guy best friend, okay? And you went out with him and her and they were like laughing
Mhm.
together and he was getting
Uh-oh,
a little
there we go.
closer. He was oh, okay. You were laughing together, you were getting a little he was getting a little close, and then he's like when you bump into the conversation, he looks at you like you're less than. Like he's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, bro." And then continues the conversation and then he's like, "All right, bud, see you later." Like it's not attractive and it's ugly. So some of it has to do with also yes, you have to trust the girl and it's very much so. But the guy just has underlining intention sometimes and it's like
And I
what can the girl do about that?
and I think it also stems back from a lot of girls think that all guys just want is sex,
Mhm.
and those are what we call fuck boys.
Mhm.
And
Well, a lot
I
of men are horny fucks, just to say. But
okay, and I won't. I'll admit that like I mean,
walks
look at me.
into a bar, pitches a tent.
I mean, like, I listen to the show because it talks about sex and it's a fun thing to like. That's like one thing about a relationship that I like. I like talking about sex in my personal opinion, just
Oh, yeah.
because it's something that's a little bit different.
Taboo.
It's taboo, and I like it. I like, listening to, it makes me feel comfortable being like, okay, I'm not the only horny guy in here. So, but another
Bye. Go ahead.
another like weird thing that happened to me was I there was this girl that I matched with, and I don't remember what her opening line was, but she asked me to take a survey, and it was called the it was called like the boyfriend survey.
Ah, ah,
And
yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll take it.
You took it. Oh my god. That's
It
it's called
was
a
it
boyfriend application, by the way.
oh, boyfriend application, whatever.
It's a
Oh yeah.
trend. Mhm.
It had like I wrote these down on a sheet of paper to try and like make sure I got everything. It took up the entire first page and almost half of the back page.
When a girl won't settle, she won't settle.
Now it these are good questions. It was just kind of just a lot to take in. Like, I mean, it's like asking what's your name, and what is there like a name that you would prefer to be called, or
Did she send you like a link
yes.
to what? Google Docs?
Yeah, it was a Google survey.
Okay.
Um, and it's asking for my date of birth, sexuality, gender, ethnicity, race, what state do I live in, which was a little weird. I mean, maybe she's just trying to figure out, do I live in New York or do
Okay.
I live out of state? And would she want to make that commitment, which is fine. um what, like, religion, how religious am I on a scale of 1 to 10? Am I in school? Do I have a degree? If yes, what's my, do I have a job? What's my occupation? Do I have any, I'm just reading this off what I see. Do I have any kids? Do I have any kids on the way? Do I have social media, and if yes, how often? What is my driving status, as in, like, do I
Do you have a
have
car or a
do
license?
do I have a license,
This
or
is
do I
called the
have,
bare minimum application.
yes.
Ah!
um am I financially stable? And then it
Is
says
anybody?
and then I said, and it says explain. Do I live alone? It's like how, or like how long have I been single? How long did my last relationship end? Why did it end? Am I still in contact with my ex? Have I ever cheated or been cheated on? Have I ever been married or engaged? What am I looking for? Do I have trust, abandonment, anger, mental health issues? Am I in therapy? Um uh do I finance, lease, or own my own car? What do I do for fun? These are like first date
That's what I
questions.
was, like, gonna fucking say, like, can you get on the fucking first date first?
Yes. And honestly, I might use this for, like, on a date
Oh,
with the
well,
girl that I'm
that's
talking
see,
to.
here you go. There you go. Taking a mountain out of a fucking molehill, are you?
So but yeah,
Yes.
and like it's like uh do I kiss on the first date?
It's a
Why or
cute
why not?
question.
I think
Cute
that's a good
question.
question.
I like that.
Um I said
Do you?
yes if the moment is right.
Good
I think
answer.
that's, I won't be like, "Yes," and there's no other way around it. Like, I'm sure I've gone on, I'm trying to think, like, I've gone on for a date before where we didn't kiss, and, she just then eventually said, "I only see you as a friend." So, I don't see it as, if I don't get a kiss, then, it's over with. Sometimes people just don't feel comfortable, which is okay. Maybe this is me being a loser or whatever, but I sometimes like to ask permission, like, is it okay if I kiss you? Just like, because some girls
There you
obviously
go.
they might not feel comfortable with it, so I just try to just say, hey, can I kiss you? And usually that's like kind of somewhere that's like kind of private. I
Communicate, yeah.
usually, like, in my car, or like, um I went on a date with a girl, and we were walking in the park, and nobody was around, and I said, "Can I kiss you?" And she said yes, and we kissed. Um like,
Was it like a kiss or was it like a kiss?
kiss.
You made out
Yes.
in the middle of the park?
Yeah.
On a
But
bench or standing up?
standing up.
Interesting. Did you lean her up against a tree at all?
No.
Do that next time. You'll get her. She'll be so wet in the panties.
I am now, like, this is like one thing that's like a good question to ask, is like, how do you feel about sex on the first date? I'm not one that would have sex on the first date. I would have to really know the person well to feel like, and not all guys are like that. I just
For
happen
sure.
to be. I just, I've mentioned on your show before, I'm very inexperienced when it comes to sex. So sometimes, I like I might, like, start, like, shaking a little bit, and that
Shaking
might,
is just those hormones running through your body. Those do not go away. They get less, like, scary, like, the shaking continues, but the anxiety goes away with it.
yeah.
Like, when you get with someone for the first time, it's super exciting and you have things rushing through your body, you're gonna shake, and guess what? You're gonna make her legs shake too. Everybody's gonna be shaking.
Mhm.
It is a completely normal reaction. You just have to be able to stabilize yourself in order to literally, get it in.
And, like, one of the things that I did, like, I found, interest, like, what's my favorite movie? And they said DC or Marvel, obviously. Like, do I like DC or Marvel comics? I said Marvel just because I am I mean, I'm not a superhero junkie, but one of my favorite superheroes as a kid is Spider-Man. and
Pew.
there were literally pictures of me in like the first or second grade where I'm literally doing that. Ugh.
I can imagine that. That's cute.
I like if like these are good questions. It's just like right off the bat, it just seems kind of weird, at least in my
What's one
opinion.
question that you answered that was your favorite? The movie one,
Um,
right? What was your least favorite?
Least favorite, probably am I financially stable, because I feel like that's something that I shouldn't have to answer right off the bat.
Did you then again have her take the same survey?
Well, she just kind of this was her survey, so
Right.
she just replied to some of the things that she said, um, which is fine. Like this is one that I told you about, and you came up with a clever way to, and like if I were to ever use this again, I might take that. I might take your answer. I'm gonna steal it. And it would say, "What would your last meal be?" And I said, "I don't know." And I used to work at Ted's Hot Dogs for 5 years, and so I said Ted's. And she she responded with, "What is Ted's?" And I was just like, "Huh?"
If you guys are not from Buffalo, I know I have a couple fans on here, especially Marcus is a new fan. He lives in Florida. Um, that is a hot dog place here in Buffalo. That's really well known for Saleen's hot dogs, and my favorite is the foot long.
Like a nice barbecue chicken sandwich. But we're not going to talk about food.
Yeah.
She was also like asking what would I name my first daughter or son, and um this was before I knew you. I said if I had the choice it would be Natalie.
If you have like a daughter and you name her Natalie, I think I'll literally like be like, my twin. You
You'll
gave
be
birth,
like
or not you gave birth,
you'll
but
be
your
like
wife or
the
whatever.
you'll be like the cool aunt or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I love being an aunt because I don't want kids right now.
You know, I'm not ready for kids. I think when it comes down to if you want kids, it it depends on the situation. Like
Yeah, I
I would
agree.
want to wait till I'm married to start having kids, and that might be a while. That might be 10 years from now. Hopefully, I'm not 35 having my first kid, but that's neither here nor there. Um
I'm the
I
best man. I'm kidding.
You'll definitely be a part of it, of my wedding.
I'm not gonna be the best man.
I know, I'm just saying,
Oh,
but like
okay.
if you know,
It's like I ain't doing all that work. You got brothers and
that,
friends.
that's where my brothers would come into play, is
Yeah.
that they would, but yeah, and but what did you say when I told you about this question? Then you said, "What would your last meal be?"
You're a pussy.
Yep. And I was like, "That is clever. That is very clever." And I was like, "Maybe I'll use that if I'm feeling like now that could really turn against me to where she's thinking, "Oh, you're just like every one of those every guy
You
that
gotta
all
read the
they
room.
wants is sex," which would which I could understand. But for me personally,
Yeah.
well, like one of the things that I did that I thought was really like kind of clever
Mhm.
was, so part of my job is I have some pretty like cool people in my contacts. I have people from the Buffalo Bills, Thurman Thomas, who's a Pro Football Hall of Famer,
Hell yeah.
um, Alex Tuck, who plays for the Buffalo Sabres, um, and I said I could think of another person that would be I could think of another cool person to add into my contacts. And then she would like she said, "Who would that be?" And I'd said, "Oh, your phone number." And she goes, "I was clever. I really like that." And she gave me her number. There was one girl, I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling,
Love it.
that was
Keep talking.
it's okay. Sorry. That like I she was just like I said like, "Oh, I want to get to know you," stuff like that. And then she goes, "Well, what do you want to know about me?" And I said, "Well, the first thing I'd want to know is what's your phone number."
See? Got Riz.
But here's the thing. I never got it
Why? Was she a bitch?
because well, looking
Or she
back
has a
at it,
boyfriend?
no, it was more so because she uh said the last time she gave a guy a number that she met on Hinge, it turned out completely, bad. And maybe I asked for her number a couple times after that, and maybe I felt kind of just like, I don't know, guilty about it, but
Yeah.
it just got I was just getting to the and then eventually she just unmatched me just for no reason. And I was a little pissed off, but I said it's her loss. So that's kind of how I look at it from that standpoint.
It is her loss. But again, Hinge and Bumble are not a good place to, in my opinion, meet people. I can go on a little ramble of kind of an extent of my experience if you'd like to hear it.
Go. It's your
On
show, honey.
I know. Anyways, on Bumble. So I was, and seriously, I remember saying this to him a year ago. I was like, I hate dating apps. I'll never download dating apps. But I was like, you know what? I am having trouble meeting people and I just really wanted to meet people. So I downloaded Bumble, made a profile. It was extremely fucking stressful because all these people started popping up, whatever. I went on a few dates. Okay. I don't want to name names, but I know certain people are watching this podcast.
Oh
So
boy.
I will save some of my I'm going to do my best here. This is my digital diary, so I'm going to try to do my best. Let's just say the first person I met just got out of a relationship 2 weeks prior.
Jesus, sometimes I feel like that's just too quick.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I was
Some
like, I get
people
it.
some people might already
Yeah.
emotionally be out of it and ready, which is fine, but
Yeah.
sometimes I think for me, like I didn't start going back on dating apps for like maybe a few months after I broke up with my ex.
And you know what? It's because you loved her. And that's and even at that point of time, you know what I'm saying? Like you never unlove your first love. And I say that all the time. And you're not in love, but you still have care and love for them. You still think about them daily or weekly or monthly, whatever it may be. But 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks. Now I opened up the floor because it seemed like he wanted to talk about it. So for our entire first conversation that lasted around like literally 4+ hours,
Holy shit.
it was on FaceTime, was about his ex-girlfriend.
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
I let it go. He cried with me and everything like that. I'm like, maybe I was placed on this earth to help people like that. But I didn't see it going anywhere because if I have to fix you, it's not happening. Then I went on another date. Um, and I knew his height when I had matched with him. That doesn't bother me. What happened with him, he was super sweet and everything like that. But unfortunately, there just was no connection there. When he had FaceTimed me randomly, it's like we couldn't keep a conversation. And for me, that's a game changer. Like, if you can't keep a conversation with me and talk deep and like your response is just dead, like, no. Then the stickler. Don't want to say his name, so I hope I don't accidentally say his name. This gentleman I was fond of. Great conversation, had so many things that were similar. I had taken him to the place where I danced, and
The
I shouldn't have done
stage.
that. Yep, I shouldn't have done that. He seemed to like it a lot, and apparently he had some friends there. I was like, shit. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm rolling with the punches here. Like I kind of like this. I'm vibing with it. Um, but for me, attraction has to build, but if I get to know you. So I wasn't fully like there yet, but I'm like, all right, let's see how it goes. Then 2 days later, we have our first date. So like he kind of brought himself to the stage, and then we actually have our first date. So we go to the botanical gardens, and then we go out to eat. At this point, I'm not feeling too great, so I get like a tea and whatever. Botanical Gardens was super nice, but again, I felt like again that anxiety at the date, and we had a conversation, but so we get to the first date, like sitting down to eat. We have he's not eating, he's just talking, which is fine, asking a ton of questions about me. But then he has the audacity. First, he was like, "Are you seeing other people?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm on a dating app. I'm going on multiple dates." And then he's like, "Oh, okay. Uh, are you having sex with other people?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "When's the last time you had sex?" I go, "A week ago." And he was like, I guess that's not cheating. Excuse me? I'm like, I'm on a dating app. I've gone on other dates with people. I haven't been physical with every single one of them. I said, I'm also talking to a girl who
Oh,
that, I was like, I'm talking with a girl and I'm intimate with her. And that was who I was intimate with. And so he was like, oh, like, he was like, I guess it's okay. I guess it's not cheating. And so that turned me away immediately.
I y-
Like, what?
for me, if people are talking to if you're talking to other people, and that's fine, if you feel like if someone I'm talking to feels like that they have a connection with someone else other than me, I'd be like, okay, goodbye.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with now the way I worded, maybe it sounded bad, but for
It did.
me, I know. Well, as in, like, if they're like, I don't want to pursue anything anymore with you, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Got
Not
you.
like not like how you were. I'm not trying to say like how the date was, where it's like, I guess that's not cheating. People can talk to other people. It's fine.
That's
I
how
mean,
dating works.
exactly. And sometimes, you know what? And like, I just don't, that's not really a good way to go about it, honestly.
What do you mean by him? What he did? What he said?
What he said, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't say, I guess that's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's not.
He's like he told me a story. He was like, in the past, I had talked to somebody for like 8 months, and I went to the bar and I had seen her making out with somebody, and that was horrible. And I was like, "Were you exclusive?" He goes, "Kinda, when you're
You
inside, you
gotta
just
you
know."
gotta make sure that it's exclusive,
Yep.
especially like, you gotta make sure that she's on board with it. That
Yeah.
I think that, like, asking, like, I'll say, I was talking to, like, a girl, and I liked her. She, like, I when we were, like, going out, maybe, like, I don't know how many dates it was. Maybe it was 4. Maybe this was too soon, but I said, "Would you be my girlfriend?" And she said basically that she wasn't sure yet, and, like, she was afraid that, like, oh, because, like, the last time she was in, like, a relationship, it only lasted, like, a couple months, and I was like, That's okay. You know what? Like, well, take your time, whatever you don't want." And then a couple weeks later, she then told me that she wasn't interested in me anymore, which kind of sucked. And
Maybe you
then
scared her away a little bit with that,
maybe I did, probably, but
because 4 dates. I mean,
we were talking basically every day
which is
for,
not good.
like, how was that not? Oh, not good on my standpoint, or
Everybody's, because I
okay.
like to tell people like, okay, I lie, I lie, I lie, I lie, I lie. Sending Instagram reels and stuff like that every day is fine. Like we know you're on your phone, but having constant conversation all damn day. I mean, like literally a message pops up on your phone, you got to answer it. Like, no, absolutely not. Uh,
It's sometimes I'm not always on my phone, and, like, that was also, I don't mean to keep getting into other stories.
you're
I
fine.
feel
It's what it's for.
um I was talking to a girl. First off, I don't want to say I should never have been talking to this girl in the first place, but the girl is 20, and
I have a story about that.
I was, and this is when I'm like, I think I'm 25 by now, and so we were talking and like I felt like we were hitting it off, and then I get like her Snapchat or her number or something like that, and then eventually it gets to the point where like I said I was going to FaceTime her one day, and this was when I was out with you. Um and I didn't get a chance
Oh,
to.
yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm just fixing my microphone thing. So go ahead. Keep talking.
And so she was upset about it, and I was trying to, tell her like, oh, and she's like saying you're just like every other guy, and I tell her I'm not like every other guy, and
What
I
the
was trying to
fuck?
like convince her like I still want to talk to you, blah blah blah, and she was just, and then eventually she started. It seemed like she was over it. I thought she was, and then came the one word replies. I
All
asked
over a
her.
fucking
I asked her.
FaceTime call?
Yeah, I asked her. I said, "Hey, do you want to go out?" Like, and she said she likes sushi. So I was like, "How about
Ooh, sake
hibachi?
sushi.
How about we went to hibachi?" Um, and I basically, and she said, "Okay." I was like, "Is that a yes or a no?" And she says, "Okay." I go, "That's not an answer. I want an answer." And she goes, "I'm busy." I'm like, "Can you just say a yes or a no?" We didn't end up going on this date, or like kind of glad about it. But like there was one time where she sent me a one word reply. I left her basically on like read or opened, and she got upset about it. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do when I'm the
Again,
person that
constant. See?
that's talking and you're not giving anything back? It's just like
Takes
I
two to
like
fucking tango.
yes, I like talking. I'm sure you know this about me for knowing
Sure
me for
do.
since basically probably 2020, and then we became closer friends
Yeah.
over the past like a year or so.
Mhm.
I I like talking. It's just who I am. I work at a freaking radio station. I have my
Yeah.
own podcast. We can talk about that later. Um, but the one thing I like more than talking is listening and having conversations and bouncing off of people's ideas. And you can't have that when the conversation is
Yeah.
one-sided. So
Exactly. And I was just talking about that, remember? Like if
so that
someone
that
doesn't have
that's why I wanted to bring that up.
if someone doesn't have like a any substance, if someone doesn't have like if it literally that's what happened with that one guy was like
Yeah.
he FaceTimed me and if, like he was in the middle of doing something, but it just like he FaceTimed me. I was like, oh, he wants to talk. That just like wasn't feeling it. I just was not feeling it. Was this the same woman though you were talking about that was like being rude to you? I
Maybe.
feel
I've had a few people be rude to me.
I don't know what it was.
She called me an asshole, and I think
Yeah.
even called me a pussy.
Yeah. So for fuck's sake, I don't know where her fucking audacity came from, where you guys barely knew each other, first of all. And second of all, if you want to continue answering with one word fucking replies, don't expect us to have a one-sided fucking conversation here. How about you go fuck yourself, bitch, and go talk to a wall? Because you'll probably get a better fucking response. Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, it's fine.
that shit pisses me off. Like you're my fucking friend. I don't fucking fuck around with that shit. But that's besides the point. Okay.
And
Anybody, if
and I and then like if someone's, like I'm always here for you, you're
yeah,
like
I know. And that one oh my god. We don't need to talk about that such scenario on here, but one of the people that I was meeting off of Bumble actually for the first time, he was there. Evan was there because we were meeting at a bar,
yeah.
and I had bumped into a previous situationship that I had had at that bar. So the guy I was meeting off Bumble, the previous situationship were at the same booth in an empty bar. It was fucking insane, and he was
And
acting so weird that night. You were, Evan.
well, but, okay, the reason why I'm so weird and frustrated is because when you called me like you were in fear for your life.
I
That's
was.
what it felt like. When you called me, you're just like, I'm so sick. It's like finding an excuse to get out of here. And I'm just like trying to figure out. And I was just like so out of it. And it just, it was not a, it was not a good night. And, you know,
I mean,
thankfully,
honestly, what I did was I'll briefly explain. I'm not gonna really explain. But I literally was like, "You know what? Fuck this." I grabbed a chair, turned it around like reverse cowgirl, and I was like, "So, we fucked. Yep, him and I fucked. Yes, I'm talking to him right now." And I literally just was like, "I don't give a shit no more." And the
yeah.
fucking guy I was talking to
And,
was like, "I'm
and
going for
that's
a
when I
cigarette."
was trying to like tell you, like, let let's go. Let's get out of here. This is like, I didn't know if this guy had you knew had a weapon on him. I did not want to have to try and call the police or have to
See what I mean, guys? Bubble is a no-no.
that like, and this is like my brain going into protection mode and making sure that my best friend doesn't get hurt, and that it was just, it was not a fun night, or at
Yes.
least like. And then looking back at it now, like, I probably, if I wasn't upset about that whole situation with that girl that I was talking to, that I was upset that we were gonna that I couldn't FaceTime her that night, then I would have totally hung out, and we would have, what were you playing, like Cards Against Humanity or something like that?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love that game. That game is
Oh my god, I
so
still have
much
that
fun.
card. Big bottom booty bitches or something?
I've heard that there's
It
like,
was a card. I don't know.
I know that there's a game that's like called Deep, Deeper, and Deepest, which is like,
Yes.
and I actually played that with a girl that I was talking to, and it was a little not awkward, but it was just like, for me, I was just like, this is not going to be fun for someone who's only had sex twice.
Hold on, I have a
So, but really, what ended up happening was, is just like, it was just like, it was it was all right. I didn't I mean, like, thankfully, the girl that I'm talking to now, I've really enjoyed, talking and hanging out with her.
Do you
Um,
wanna say her name, or do you wanna keep that on the down low for now?
and keep that on the down low for now,
Totally
and
understand. Don't release them to the file.
it's not that I want to like kind of keep this girl a secret. We've only gone on 3 dates, so
But it's going well, and I think you should gatekeep
yes,
her until it's time.
it is going well, and I really enjoy spending. We tried to watch Oppenheimer. Yeah, Saturday night, and we couldn't for some stupid reason, and so we ended up watching the Super Mario Brothers movie on Netflix. She's like, "Oh, do you want to watch Netflix or Amazon Prime?" I was like, "I know more stuff on Netflix than Amazon Prime, so let's go with that." It
I'm
was
glad you had your it's after everything going to shit, it's going well.
Yeah, everything's been going well. She's um like, I will say the biggest thing for me.
Mhm.
Maybe I've mentioned this before on the episode that we were on. It's like, what was it, like, less stress, more sex, I think, or something. I
Mhm.
think.
That was the episode. If you wanna go back to that, guys, whoever's listening, see the
Um,
difference. How much has happened since then? Oh my god.
basically, um, basically, I tell people that I don't need you to like sports or love the Bills as much as I do. You can be a Bills fan. That's totally fine. But what I need you to understand is how important that sports team is to me. That's the big thing. Is I need you to understand that the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, and whatever other sports team that I like, whether it
Mm.
be the Bandits or the Toronto Raptors, that's my favorite basketball team, the Yankees. Um, I need you to understand that that sports has, like, was the reason why I got into broadcasting.
I love
So
that.
so
Repeat that. What did you say? I don't need you to
I don't need you to be a huge fan or be crazy about the Bills or the Sabres or whoever, but I need you to understand how important it is to me.
And that is
That's
amazing.
that's what I think it really comes down to because um, I have a huge sports memorabilia collection, and this little this CD called "Roll the Highlight Film" is the reason why I got into broadcasting. I heard this maybe in 2006. That's kind of when it came out, and this has some of the um, highlight tape from Sabres play-by-play legend Rick Jeanneret, and I had him sign it. And obviously, I think back in April, he sadly passed away, um, and that is my all-time favorite autograph ever. And I even have a something signed by Jim Kelly that says "My best to you, Evan." Jim Kelly.
So again, like
And
it's about basically them listening to you, like it's not like they don't need to be watching the game with you. They just need to know that like it's important to you and like treat it as such.
if I'm upset because of the like say for example, if we're talking about like the Bills losing to Kansas City last week, if you can't understand why I'm so upset, that's then that's your problem because sometimes people people's moods are dependent on how a sporting team goes. Now, I try not to get too upset about it. Maybe it might take me like I was like, "Hey, give me 24 hours." And that was like one of the things that I liked about my ex is that like so for those of you, I don't know how many people pay attention to sports, a 13 seconds game. If you're a Bills fan, you'll know what I mean when I say 13 seconds. Um, and um, the Bills ended up losing that game, and it was in the playoffs and it ended their season. And my girlfriend at the time texted me saying, just want to let you know I love you and I know you're probably upset and I'll give you some space. And I appreciated that.
Amazing communication.
The fact that she knew I was going to be super upset because the Bills just had this incredible game and this incredible season where it seemed like that they like I remember watching that Super Bowl saying to myself the Bills should be playing in this game. That's what I was thinking. The Bills should have been playing in that game. And for her to understand how upset that I was and to know that, hey, I'm going to give you your space. I'm here if you need to talk. That's really the
That's
sign
super
of
sweet.
exactly. So that that's what it comes down to. And she loved the Bills just as much as I did.
Right.
Or well, she still does love the Bills. But getting getting back to it, in my personal opinion, I just think that you don't need to be a huge fan like I am. I just need you
Mhm.
to understand how important it is to me. So much so that my best friend Natalie knows how important the Bills are to me. She got me this like Josh Allen.
Yes, my Aunt Sandy.
She got me this
Beautiful
Josh
plum
Allen shirt
creations.
for Christmas, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you and tell your aunt about this if she does this, but does it with like different players, like say Stefan Diggs or maybe
Oh, for sure. She could do
Jim
that.
or Jim Kelly or whoever, and maybe making it like into like a sweater or like T-shirts. I think people will buy it,
Stand
and
up so I can
people.
see it a little bit better.
Uh,
There you go. Hell yeah. So that is my aunt's creation. It's beautiful plum creations. I will link it in the description below.
it is awesome. I
Comfortable,
like wearing
right?
this. Yeah, it was a little itchy at first, but
Oh,
like
okay.
once you go through like
Wash.
like kind of any new shirt, like if you put it through the wash, I'm gonna sit back down. If you put it through the wash, then it's great, and it's obviously it's Josh Allen. Who doesn't love Josh Allen if you're a Bills fan? I don't think I've ever met a Bills fan that says I don't like Josh Allen. Then
Did
I
you
would
put
just
that scent thing in there too? In your car?
oh, not yet. I
Oh.
have it in my backpack. I have not put it up yet. Um,
anyways.
that that's
Um,
that's something that that's one of those other things that she got me for Christmas. I
yeah.
obviously got her that microphone arm, which
Yeah.
is when the first podcast she did it with that arm. That was the first thing one of the first things she mentioned. I was just
Yep.
like,
Yep.
this is awesome. This is great.
So as we are kind of like deteriorate, like getting to the end of this episode,
Been
obviously we
talking for
talked
an
about.
hour.
I know, that just makes sense. That's how it is. I like to keep it within an hour, a little over an hour, because attention span.
I get it.
Um, but I really want to reiterate the fact that of how much progress you've made. I consider you. You're my friend, but you're kind of also a client, I'd say, and and you've made so much progress with your confidence, with how you speak about yourself, how you speak to others. You take constructive criticism with a grain of salt, but also with you literally you don't get defensive about it.
Yeah.
You take it, you use it. And also I want to say that your attitude, getting rejection has changed a lot. And I love that. I pride you for that.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
for those of you listening, obviously Valentine's Day is coming up, and Valentine's Day sometimes sucks when you're single because, it's a Hallmark holiday and you have to have a date and whatever like that. But honest to God, last Valentine's Day, I had a fuck you photo shoot and literally had a cake, had them write fuck you on it. Did this with the cake and went like with the cake holding the cake. Okay. I'm not showing that picture because it's inappropriate because I'm in lingerie, but it was the best thing I could possibly fucking do. You need to love yourself. You cannot love another person unless you somewhat have some love for yourself, okay? And I want to remind everybody that you should not have to settle. For example, in my situation, him asking me that question and made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't like it. Goodbye, sayonara. That girl that was talking to you and calling you an asshole and that was completely out of fucking line, bye, sayonara. You do not have to settle. If they don't understand why you have a big emotion towards the bills, that's that. Go find somebody that doesn't. That's not our our job is not to fix other people. And that is something that I keep having to remind myself. The person I'm talking to now, I finally found somebody that, well, never mind. I don't want to get in detail, but I finally found somebody that I no longer have to fix. Okay.
And
He doesn't need fixing.
that's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
You should be all ready to rock and roll, and you should not be
No one's
having
perfect.
no. And I'm never gonna say I'm perfect like that. Like one of the, and I'm sure I mentioned that on my when I was on before. I um I said there was a girl that I was talking to. She's really nice. She's now engaged, so good for her. She said to me once that I'm perfect, and it just does not make me, and I know that she meant it in good, in like she was trying to be sweet and nice about it, but I guess to me like I am too hard on myself, and then when I'm compared to perfection, then
But
I'm
you're going to
just
be
like,
perfect to somebody someday.
yeah.
They're going to see the flaws in you, but
I
perfect.
just don't want someone to outright tell me I'm perfect. Like if in their head they're like this guy is perfect, then that's fine. But I don't need to know that, because then
Mm.
if I know that, then my standard is going to be I got to try and hold myself to perfection. And maybe that's something that's bad about me.
Yeah, you could work on that because you don't need to hold perfect in somebody else's eyes is different than another person's. But again, I finally found somebody that I do not have to fix. And no one needs you should not have to feel the need to handle their problems, or you'll never start to handle your own. And with this new person I'm talking to, I have now found a opportunity to focus on myself and finally better my career. And I can now have this person on my side, helping me through it, and I can focus on my friends and everything like that too, without having to worry about who I'm talking to is going through all this drama. He can't get his ex-girlfriend out of the picture. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have this. His finances are all out of fucking whack. Like, that's not my problem, and I made it my problem, and I'll no longer do that anymore. So this Valentine's Day, say fuck
Good for
you.
you.
Thank you.
I've always called Valentine's Day National Singles Awareness Day. Like it's true. Look it up. If you like look up I'll go to like national
Oh my god. That's fucking funny.
National Singles Awareness Day. National Singles Awareness Day. Um it is February 15th. Um get out of here. Stupid having to accept
Funny
cookies. I
story. I
don't
think that's literally when I had the photo shoot.
know. But it's so it's like it, to me. I'm just like of the mindset of I Valentine's Day has always been my least favorite holiday. It just has been. It's like it like you said, it's a Hallmark holiday, and I just for a long time, I just and also it's a social media holiday where it's like, oh, I love you so much, boo, the hearts and all that stuff, and I'm just like,
Ick.
it was more so like girls doing it with their boyfriends, and I don't want to say I'm not about it, but it's more so like also like I'm not a huge fan of like if a girl says, "Oh, we're gonna celebrate our 1 month, 2 month, 3 month." I'm like, no, your only anniversary is the 1 year. That's it.
Okay, 1 month is nice. After that, half a year is cool. You don't really have to
Half
celebrate it, but
half a
mention it.
year, half a year. You can. I mean, if you want to
1 month,
mention it,
half a year, year.
all right, I can accept that. But like, don't go 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9.
And for reference, there's the 3-month rule people use, like, don't get in a relationship till after 3 months. People say don't have sex until 3 months, and I'm like, no, I'm not wasting 3 months of my life to have sex with somebody who probably has a micro penis, okay? Ugh. Evan, do you remember our story I told you? We're not getting into that. Anyways. I appreciate you all for coming to me and Evan's 2023 dating wrapped. I love you all. And if you want to say like some last words, Evan, you're welcome to sign off.
Well, I mean, just keep listening to her podcast. I have gone from a guy that didn't feel like he had any confidence at all to someone who feels like that I have gained more confidence with myself. And check out my podcast too. If you
Hell
got
yeah.
if anybody is interested in sports, I would love to, if you'd like to listen, I would love to get people in.
The banner is
Yes,
right there.
yeah, my podcast Depot's Den. I do it from right here in my room. That's why I call it Depot's Den, and it's in kind of just my den, so that's where it comes from. And I'm probably gonna probably I'll do a podcast tomorrow and start yelling at the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl, and I'm pissed off about it.
I listened to his by the way guys, I'm not a huge like on sports and like main like upkeep on like remembering and I literally listen to his podcast so I can keep on like the little I get little snippets of what I'm supposed to know about it, not just the fact that they lost, but like who and the refs and whatever. And it's actually really helpful. So even though the girls out there or guys, whatever, that kind of want to have a good conversation with somebody who does know a lot about sports, listen to the podcast. He'll give you a lot of like good pointers
Yeah.
to like
And
the
there's a lot
conversation.
of other people that have podcasts, and I think it
But we're
stems.
not talking about them.
Yes, listen to Depot's Den.
Depot's fucking den.
I think that I'm really great on what I do. My Twitter feed is right here, Evan Depot 2. If you want to ask me a sports question, um, that and I can
Do
bring it
you
up
have
on
a
my
sex
podcast.
question? Do you have a sports question?
and and that leads to, if you have any questions about sex or whatever for Natalie, ask her on her TikTok, or when she does her TikTok lives, ask her on Instagram, right down here. Like that's where I think that you can, if you want advice and you're not unsure about a relationship, or your sexuality or whatever. This is someone that I go to a lot when I have questions that I am unsure about. And she is literally my freaking I literally can't thank this girl enough for all that she's done. And and it goes both ways. I
Yeah,
help
yeah,
I help her, like emotionally, with when
yeah,
she's having stress about something. I'm kind of
mhm,
like that sort of third party um you know type deal, and I
yeah,
try to tell her, like, I don't if I feel like she's kind of in the wrong about something, I don't have a problem with telling her, because she knows how to take criticism, and she knows that I mean it in good faith and in
right.
good heart. And that's you know, I I went to a Bison's game with Natalie, and even
Yeah.
we went to go see a Pink Floyd cover band, which was, and I
Woo.
just remember just like when they were playing the song, like uh it was a Pink Floyd song called
I'm so
Great Gig in the
I
Sky.
was
I
like,
just look over her and she's just mesmerized. She's got this big smile on her face, and
uh,
it like I was more so because I knew I was going to have a good time because obviously I like the band and I like the music. I was more so kept looking over to you and making sure that you were having a good time.
I had a fucking blast.
Yeah,
It was so much
it was
fun.
awesome.
Him and I, yeah, we have great times, and that's the thing. Maintain a friendship too, and you, if you're gonna be dating and you're gonna be going out, maintain your friendships. And like that one girl he had talked to, do not let them try to cut off any of your friends. But anyways, thank you for coming to talking about the taboo with Natalie Malloy. Always remember to communicate. XOXO. Mwah.